Tov. Okay, yay. So I have in back of me, I don't know if you see, but it's a yahrzeit candle. It's for Orach Chaim HaKadosh. So we're going to continue with Shmoneh Kvatzim of Rav Kook, but we're going to start with the tefillah that we have, that Orach Chaim, one of the few tefillot that remained that was composed by Orach Chaim HaKadosh, and it got saved by his student, the Chida. Rabbi Chaim Azulay. So I'm going to screen share and we'll start with the tefillah and then we'll go into Shmoneh Kvatzim. Here. So we have this tefillah preserved to us by the Chida. Okay. So Bezrat Hashem, Orach Chaim HaKadosh Schos should be a protection and a blessing for all of Am Yisrael, all the people still in Shavuim. There's a lot of stories about Orach Chaim HaKadosh, and one of his favorite mitzvahs was Pidyon Shavuim, was to release the captives. And Bezrat Hashem, in a schos of Orach Chaim HaKadosh's neshama that's braining right today, we will hear of the release of all of the captives. Bezrat Hashem. And Hatzlacha for the soldiers that are fighting on behalf of all of Am Yisrael and all of the people ruling in this land. In the Knesset, Hashem should send them advice, good advice, eitzot tovot, full of kedusha, full of emes, of Torah, and we should see the Geula Shlema, everyone in private and public. So I'm going to read now the tefillah. Yehi ratzon milfanecha avinu malkeinu Eloheinu Yedidut or nafshenu ruchenu v'nishmatenu. May it be the will before you, our Father, our King, our God, the beloved light of our nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Leman britcha asher karta l-13 midot sheinan chozrot rikan le'olam milfanecha. For the sake of the covenant that you made with us through the 13 attributes of mercy that do not return unanswered, they do not return empty ever before you. In other words, Hashem, you always function through the 13 midos rachamim. So in schutz of that, we're praying to you today. Zachor ahavatenu v'chibatenu v'hashev shchinatcha lebeit kodshenu. Remember the love that is between us, that you for us and us for you. V'chibatenu, and our affection. V'hashev shchinatcha, and return your shchina to the house of the sanctuary, the Beit HaMikdash. V'tachzor lishtashea banu, and return to delight in us. Kimei kedem, as it was in years before. Ki kasha pridatcha mimenu, because maze prida? Pridatcha means the separation, because the separation we have of you is very, very hard on us. Kebridat nafshenu migufenu, just like it would be hard for our nefesh to be separated from our guf. It's our life. Hamu me'enu, our innards are in a turmoil. The chalta nafshenu, and our nefesh pines for you. Pines el geulat shchinatcha, for the redemption of your shchina. Ve'el me'on kodshecha, and for the abode of your holiness. Ve'lirtzoncha Hashem nichsafnu, and to your will and desire, Hashem, we are yearning. Hinenu mitchanenim ve'bochim v'nefenecha, we are begging you, begging you and crying before you. Hashem avarachamav, God, the Father of mercy, of compassion. Al galut hashchina, we are mitchanenim, we are begging you, and we are crying before you concerning the galus of the Shechina. Hoshia Hashem shchinatcha, please redeem, Hashem, your Shechina. V'davak nafshenu b'avatcha, and may our souls cling to you with love, the pleasant love. B'avatcha ha'neima, in your pleasant love. V'ha'areva nafshenu, and areva, like pleasant, like yummy, like that bring like is a balm for our soul. V'yeol malkeinu beichaleha, and may the king ascend into his uppermost chambers. So we see here the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, so rooted in all facets of Torah, Nigla and Nistar of halacha, of Torah Nigla, but he's also very big Mekubal, drawing on upon a lot of the Zohar Kadosh, and he understands. From with his words, he's telling us there is no greater light, there is nothing closer to us than Avinu Malkeinu. And we have to allow ourselves. Here, this tefillah is asking, begging Hashem to have Rahmanis, that the Shechina should come out of its captivity, come out of its galus into Geula, but none other. It is none other, from what I hear, Yedidut nafshenu ruchenu v'nishmatenu, that by calling Hashem's Shechina, Hashem's presence, that is the closest thing to us to our nefesh ruach neshama. He's basically saying, reveal my own soul to me. That's how I hear it. This is how I hear everything these days. It's like whatever I learn in Torah these days, it's about Gilui Shechina is Gilui of my own neshama to myself. And when we redeem the captive within ourselves, you want to call it inner child, you want to call it neshama, you want to call it Nekudat Tzaddik within me, you call it the Shechina, the Malchus of me. It's all the same thing. All of those terms are the same thing to me. Hashem, please redeem yourself within the physicality that's trapping you, that's hiding you for not being seen. Bezrat Hashem, and when that will happen, through the Siyata Dishmaya of the 13 Midos Rachamim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he promised will never return empty. Once he taught this to Moshe Rabbeinu, and he gave it over to us as a matana, that when we are in a time of trouble, we go to the 13 attributes, and all of this is represented in the Gilui of the Beis Hamikdash. We should be able to see its establishment. Now, all of this is so perfect in how we're going to continue in this Chabura of Rav Kook's teachings. Rav Kook, another unbelievable soul. What a matana to us to be able to go to his teachings and allow his beautiful, poetic, creative, unbelievable Hebrew language, so difficult to decipher, but if we're able to crack a little bit of what he says through the flowery, creative flow of his poetic soul, how he expresses the Torah through himself, it's saying it's exactly what the tefillah of Or HaChaim HaKadosh we just read. In the schus of Or HaChaim HaKadosh, in the schus of Rav Kook Zatzal, we should all be able to actually do the work that he's going to charge us with in this next section of Shmoneh Kvatzim that we're learning. So we're learning collected writings of Rav Kook. His son put it together, and there's 8 sections, and each section has hundreds of paragraphs in it. We're doing the 8th. We started with the 8th section, the last section of the collected writings, and we're on paragraph 3. I believe that there's a little bit more than between 260 and 270 paragraphs in this, and we're only in paragraph 3. So this is not what I want to. Hold on, I have to cancel. 1 minute. Let me minimize this. I want to call it up. Hold on. Shmoneh Kvatzim. Oh, okay, here we go. So now I can go back to you and screen share. And we'll do Bezrat Hashem 2 paragraphs, because Gimel, where we're holding, is a little bit on the short side of things, and Dalet is more meaty. Okay. Somebody just okay. Okay, very good. So this is Shmona Kvatzim, חלק ח', סעיף ג'. כשרוצים להוסיף חיים ואור בענפים, when we want to add life and light to the branches. I will explain. I'll read, translate, and then we'll go back and unpack, okay? The language of branches should be familiar to those of you who learned with me the teachings of, the Kabbalistic teachings of Rav Ashlag. We'll return to this in unpack. כשרוצים להוסיף חיים ואור בענפים, when we want to add life and light into the branches, כשהם נראים כמושים, when they seem to be, when these branches seem to be all shriveled up, dried up and shriveled up, ואינם לוקחים את הלב בקסמם והדרם, and do not do not capture our heart with their magic and their glory. צריכים לכוון את יסוד ההוספה של האימוץ של תוספת הכוח והברכה במקור היותר עליון. So when the branches seem to be all shriveled up and we want to add life to them, when they seem shriveled and they do not draw to themselves, to the heart, their magic and their glory, what we need to do, צריכים לכוון את יסוד ההסבה. We have to bring in the principle of addition. We have to bring something else into the mix to remedy the situation. צריכים לכוון את יסוד ההסבה. We have to direct the principle of addition. Addition of what? של האימוץ, של תוספת הכוח, of adopting additional power and force and bracha from the makor, it says bamakor, that exists within the source that is high up, that is higher up. Here he speaks about the branches, and the branches are a result of roots. So he's saying here, when the branches are shriveled up, and they're not, the heart is not captured by the magic and glory of it all. That's why they're shriveled up, they're dried up, they feel lifeless. So we have to go to the principle of addition and to adopt, to gain tosefet koach, additional force and bracha from the root that the branches come out of. The root that is from a higher place. When we think of trees, we think of the roots from a deeper, lower place, because it's the branches are above the ground. But we're talking about spiritual matters. The roots are up in Shemaim, and we here are the branches of the roots of Shemaim. So we want to add koach and bracha, strength and blessing from the source that is in the source that is more supernal, more above. Hayoter makuri, that is more authentic, more makuri. Makuri is more authentic, more close to the source, from the makor. Makor is source. From whose strength the branches, all of them, nurse their life, gain their life. And this tchuna, this principle, this trait, is a principle that walks with, in all signon is a style. I did in Hebrew, like I Google Translate. Signon is like in all aspects and facets of its expression. B'chol hadalgot, on all levels, v'b'chol ha'arachim, and in all its values. In short, what this is saying is when we feel lifeless, when our heart is not in its spring fever mode of being alive in love with life, and we're shriveled up, in other words, the creative juices are not flowing, everything is like blah, then what we have to do is, it means with this, what's implied is that we're disconnected from our source. Because in nature, a live branch, a non-shriveled branch, is one that's connected to its shorashim source, that's drawing up water, and through the organism, the water that is in the roots are drawn into the branches, and it's seen in the branches. So if the branches are lifeless, it means they're not connecting properly to their source, to the shorashim. And so what we need to do is reconnect to the shorashim. It's like the red light is, oh, I feel dead inside. I feel shriveled up. I'm disconnected from Hashem. I'm disconnected from my neshama. What do I need to do to reconnect myself to the life that is always in the roots that somehow I got disconnected from? So that's this seif. If we'd have to turn this into a dance, I'm already picturing a dance in my head. If we have to draw this into a picture, I'm also seeing images. I'm also seeing the images being drawn in my head from the imagination of what this is conjuring up to me. If I'd have to write a poem, well, he just wrote the most beautiful poem over here. But I think I can, from my own life, I could probably like figure out some creative way of understanding it. And I want to know, before we move on to the fourth paragraph, as you heard me read it and translate it, where did it hit you? How is it resonating within you? Because this is a Chabura. It's not a class of me just teaching. I want to learn from you also. Chanu, you have anything to no?
I'm just catching up because I just was able to come in now.
Yeah. Okay, so it was a beautiful paragraph, but I'm going to move on, and Sheva Chaya, maybe Bezrat Hashem, you'll be able to hear the recording. So let's go now to Daled. Now Daled is longer. Is longer. So beautiful. אל ידחה אדם את הרגשות הסמויות שמתעוררות בנפשו. A person must not reject, push away the hidden feelings. Samui is hidden. Regashot are feelings. We all walk around with a lot of feelings inside of us that are not always that do not always surface, that we can say, this feeling is happiness, this feeling is sadness. We walk around with like a storehouse of all kinds of feelings. Smuyot, hidden. But every so often, mit'ororot benafsho, but every so often, they awaken us within a person's soul. Now I want to just say something. When I read it before to myself, I didn't think of this. So I'm thinking now for the first time about this. What does it mean that a person should not reject this whole thing, like hargashot asmiot, hidden feelings? Whether I'm in touch with my love or not, on a feeling conscious level, love is still within me, even if I'm not conscious of it. If hate is not stirred up within me in a conscious way, that I have thoughts attached to it and physical sensation to it, it doesn't mean hate's not within me. I have hate within me. All of the feelings of rejection and attraction and rejection, the full gamut and range of chesed and gvura, tiferet, netzach, and hod, yesod, by virtue of the fact that I'm made up of the 10 sfirot and in the emotional realm of the 7 lower sfirot, it means that they are part of my makeup. More than just in potential, they are within me. I carry them. This is how I walk in the world. But they're not always surface. Sometimes we need something to happen to us to awaken the feeling, to have that feeling surface. But the feeling is always there because we're made up of the sefirot of them. You follow what I'm saying? I need a nod or a thumbs up. Okay. Now, the perpetuates Rav speaks a lot about this in Achsharat Avrechim. We live life as a reaction to outside stimulus because the things happen in this world and they hit upon our senses, our sight, our sound, our smells, our taste, our touch, and it creates an emotional response within us. It leads us to thinking. Okay, this outside stimulus as it hits upon our kelim. Hey, Alona, welcome. Our vessels of communication with the outside world, the stimulus into our senses. But the perpetuates Rav says, but we can use our imagination again. We don't really need the outside world to do that. We can close our eyes and imagine a beautiful sunset in our eyes, closed. And if we're into beautiful sunsets, we can actually bring ourselves to the feeling of delight and calm and awe of Hashem, even without really being physically in the presence of a beautiful sunset. We could just imagine it. We can imagine ourselves also being in the presence of an angry person, someone who hurts us very much. And that person is nowhere near us, but we're sitting in our chair at home and closing our eyes, just thinking about that person brings up all of the physical sensations of what it means to be in the presence of someone who makes you so angry and makes you so uncomfortable that you can't stand. So here he's not talking about those things, okay? Here he's talking about, in this paragraph, because I read ahead, like I prepared for this, so I'm talking about it. He's not going to speak about those lower feelings that we're talking about now. He's talking about what turns on the neshama. Because through all of this interaction between our senses and the outside world, and from that experience, we can close our eyes and do a hitbonenut, be mitboded and be mitbonen, and actually conjure up all of the physical feelings, sensations, and emotional feelings and thoughts that accompany them, a full experience, just being myself and I. But then beyond that, beyond the nefesh, we have a neshama that has its own language of delight, that it wants to share with the nefesh, with the lower beast, like vital soul of us, like that which we share with animals. And it has its own language of delight, of what turns it on, right? So he says sometimes the neshama, through all the noise and interaction that we have with the world, emotionally and intellectually and physiologically, the neshama somehow sometimes wakes up and wants to be heard. The creative soul. I call it creative now because it's part of the creator. Because our neshama is mamish, part of chelek eloka mimar. It's a piece of the creator himself, so it's necessarily creative. And somehow, sometimes he says, it wants to be heard, okay? So let's go back. When that neshama wakes up, when that creative voice wakes up within you, of the neshama, and with the content of the neshama, the person shouldn't reject and make little of it. Shouldn't dismiss it as real life is about, going to work, putting food on the table, whatever. There's something that the neshama wants to lend to the experience of living here. And we must not reject it, we must not dismiss it. These hidden feelings that wake up within the person's nefesh. But rather, he should allow these feelings when they wake up of the neshama type. He should allow them to rest there. Don't move away from that experience. Allow them to get deeper. Lelavlev, to blossom. Leosif tzitzim ufrachim, to grow buds and to flower. Gam perot yasu, and to allow them even to grow fruit. V'yatzru b'makom hasamur minan, and then let them gather and collect in this place that's hidden from the eye. Okay. This is so beautiful, no? Like, I want this to be an interactive thing. I don't want this just to be talking, but I want to know after me saying this, do you know what he's talking about from an experiential point of view? Have you experienced this?
One can really feel the words doing their work. It really is beautiful.
But so it's like when you say the words doing their work, what is the work that they're doing that you're feeling inside of yourself? Flush it out. Judy.
I know, I'm just thinking how to answer you, but even preparing lunch, to know that these beautiful vegetables have been created for our neshama to do its work. It's important to have in mind.
Okay. So
Can I chime in
yeah.
also?
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, the fact that you brought up the word creative made me think of like creative, like getting inspired to do something creative, and that sorry, that experience of like the awakening, which he seems to be describing. There's like a little moment where there's an opportunity to awaken to something and become inspired by it. And if you don't pay attention to it, you forget it. It's happened to me like countless times, sadly.
Right.
But I try to have like a pen and paper around like me wherever I go, usually the best I can, so that if and when that happens, that I grab it and allow a space for it. Meaning, like, even if I take a minute to write down the first little inkling of a spark of, oh, this awakening, like is describing, to write down something about it so it doesn't just get away from me. And then I have that, like I have an example of this little key thing that I made, honestly, like it actually turned into something, because I wrote down an inspiration, this idea that the Rav Shmuel said that the Ayin Tova is a key for Hatzlacha in life. And I wrote that down on a note because I thought, I was inspired. I thought, that's so cool. What does it even mean? It didn't like develop yet that I could understand what that meant or think about it, but I wrote it down. And because it was on a little piece of paper, it wasn't ignored. So space was given to it to develop. And then months later, I saw that little piece of paper again on my desk somewhere. It resurfaced with all the other ones. And I thought I again gave space to it. I looked at it, I thought, wow, I really like that. To just take a minute to think about what does that mean? I thought, well, just being literal me, like it could be a key with an eye on it, would remind me of what he said, and then I could think about it more. So that's where the idea came to make these keys, is that's how it happened. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have remembered that he said that even, let alone it turning into like a part of life and other people's lives.
So you didn't let that moment, in this case, go to oblivion.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's read those words again. Beautiful. A person must not reject the hidden feelings when they awaken within his soul. You get that moment of inspiration. It's a gift. It's a matana. Rather, the person should allow them to get deep from that awakening, to get into more dimensionality, deeper.
To sink in, also, to sink in.
To sink in, to grow roots, to lelavlev, to blossom, to grow buds, flowers, and fruit. And let them collect in this hidden space from the eye. It's all happening very deep within the nefesh. Before Shavachai, before it got translated into an actual physical key made of glass, worn on a pendant and on a necklace around the neck, it was hid this inspiration of what it means to have this Ayin Tovah, that is the key to so many things, was poel on you, was affecting you in a very, very deep way.
Yeah, and it was really just allowing a space for curiosity, which I think
it's allowing the space for this awakening to grow and to blossom. Not to miss those moments. We have to be so on our toes, so sensitive to what's going on within us. To not let that be a missed opportunity, chas v'shalom. V'chol zeh yanhig be'hanagat hakodesh v'hatoar. And all of this, now I'm asking your help. Yanhig. Yanhig means he will conduct, he will lead. Who's the he here? Is it the nefesh of the person? Is it Hashem? Like, what is he saying here? V'chol zeh yanhig be'hanhagat hakodesh v'hatoar. All of this, he will conduct, he will lead through the hanhaga, like driving force of kodesh and purity. Why does that happen all the time?
I think, can I tell you what I think it's saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think we need to read on more, but okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Or musar v'torah, and it's also yanhig, whoever this manhig is here, then with the hanhaga of kodesh and Torah, or hamusar hatahor. Or hamusar hatahor means the ethical light of purity. Pure ethical light. In other words, responsibility of a mensch in this world in the eyes of Hashem. Torah. Das Torah. Or hamusar hatahor. V'reach ha'eden shel hanshama. And the Edenic from Gan Eden, the scent of Eden, of the neshama. All of this will be led through the hanhaga, led by sanctity and purity, ethical light, the pure ethical light, and the scent of the neshama, which is Edenic. Hashokeket lemorim elyonim. That מה זה שוקקת?
Yearn.
Bustling.
Yearning.
It's making like moving energetically. Okay. Nefesh shokeka. Moving energetic, that this reach eden of the neshama is bustling and moving energetically with a lot of energy. Lemeorim elyonim, for the supernal lights. It just wants to yechubru yachad. That pining, yearning, moving, wanting to bustle towards the supernal lights that connect all together. Okay, now, Shavachai. His language is unbelievable.
I mean, I'm trying here. See, but like because he says, "Kol ze yanhig," right? What's kol ze? What I think it's just what he just said, meaning giving that allowance for it to go deeper and sink in and bloom and blossom and make flowers, which is in this like kind of hidden place. All of this will yanhig lead kilo bring in going to this deeper place of the
I think it's if he starts it al yidchei adam, let man not reject, then v'chol ze yanhig means the adam.
Yanhig adam.
V'chol ze yanhig. If he's not doche, then he's being the manhig. So he's allowing a space for the spiritual awakening that showed up. He's allowing it to deepen, and he's allowing this flow of new energy and understanding and creativity and love for Hashem and everything that the neshama is into through the guidance. He will be guided. He will be leading it with all the understanding of Kodesh and Tohar and Or Musar. And he's allowing the scent of his own neshama to lead the way to the supernal lights of which it comes from, and making all the connections.
Can I just that second sentence, maybe I'm reading it wrong, tell me, but I feel like this, where it starts, Ora Musar Tahor, Reach Eden Shel Neshama, Shuket Mirim Elyonim, Yachru Yachad. Saying that sentence, it seems to me, is saying that the light of purity and Musar and this like Tanug realm of the scent of the soul, right? There's those are the two things which are making this like movement towards these higher lights connect together, so that so you have this level of like working on ourselves and Musar and finding the place of holiness and the sweetness and beauty of it. It's like the allowing for this place of creative connection to root and blossom and be in ourselves allows us to do the holy work, because it gives us the sweetness, it gives us the Eden taste while
Scent.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Uvechol et. The reason why I'm doing Zoom only and not in person is because, like, I don't know, give me a refuah shalema. I'm feeling like my throat is like, I need to bring some water. Oh, here it is. I have water. I'm holding off and going to the doctor. I'm hoping it's just going to clear. Okay, let's continue. Uvechol et אשר רוחו יתרומם להקשיב קשב שיח קודש מרזי תורה, גם טרם לדת חוק ההשכלה הברורה. עולמים מלאים מתהווים במרחבי אין קץ, אשר לנשמת החיים, עומדים הם שמה. Okay, it's too long a sentence. Okay. I drank water. I shouldn't be coughing now. Hold on. Let me throw in another Ricola. Okay. And at all time, uvechol et, asher rucho yitromem, that his spirit is rising. Lehakshiv keshev siach kodesh, to be very attentively listening to the holy conversation, because this is the communication of the neshama with the upper realms in its source in Hashem. When we awaken, we have a feeling arising in us of a ruchnius nature. He says, don't let it pass you by. Deepen it, give it space. And within that, you'll make all the connections and you'll have a Edenic experience with all the beautiful fragrance of the neshama. And at all time, when the ruach, when we do that, when the person's rucho yitromem, his spirit rises, lehakshiv keshev siach kodesh, to listen attentively to this holy conversation, mirazei Torah, that is none other than the secrets of Torah. Gam terem ledet chok haskala bura, even before you understand, even before the intellect has a clear understanding of what's even going on, still just on the experience, on the feeling level, before words, before it becomes a thought that's formulated that you can express. And you're listening attentively to this conversation of the neshama with its source that is from these secrets of Torah. even before the intellect has an understanding, a clear understanding what's going on. Olamim mle'im mitavim. Full worlds are coming into being. And with limitless expanses that have no end, worlds that are being filled and becoming in expanses with no end, asher linishmat hachayim omdim hem shama, that to the soul of life, that is their place. That's where they're holding. Veram gvuratam norahu, and the thunder of their strength is nora, is awesome. It's like, I mean, you know, we think in pictures, right? I'm hearing these words of Rav Kook, and I'm already like, he's really turning me into an artist. Like, it's ridiculous what he's doing here, because I thought I wasn't. And here I am. Hello, I'm an artist, because what I'm seeing here, through the senses, through the visuals that he's giving us, it's like Rabbi Nachman has this all the time also. Rabbi Nachman is very visual in his metaphors of explaining deep Kabbalistic concepts of what the neshama goes through. And he has, talking about thunder, he has this lesson about thunder and rain clouds and gray matter in our brain and our heart and precipitation and storms and God. And it's all about the neshama's work and tefillah and Torah. So I'm seeing here worlds, like, you know, go paint a world that is becoming an expansive and no ending. And somehow this is the spirit of a human is tapped into that. This is where we come from. This is where we stand. And the sounds, the thunderous strength of awesomeness. It's awesome. Norahu. And their light is as the light of the sun. As when the sun exits in its full strength, you know, comes out in its full strength. Who can stop the sun from rising? And if the person's understanding, his yeda, his information is short, is weak, we don't have the words or the background information, knowledge-wise, to understand all of that. And is dark, and is not enough to absorb that whole content of the experience of the neshama being in the presence of this awesomeness that it awakened to, that we're allowed to give space to it. And even before the intellect has words to understand what's going on, but he's experiencing it. So even if our information of what's going on is limited and is dark and is not, wasn't able to absorb the content, hahekeri, of recognizing of all of this exaltedness that's happening. To recognize this exaltedness, which is hidden, which is in the mysteriousness of the Arpelei Orim, the mystery of the fog that the light is within. Yada ki od yavo yom, you should know. Od yavo yom. This is the beginning of a song. Od yavo yom. That a day will yet come. Umibeten, listen to these words. Umibeten hachoshech or gadol yagia. And from the beten, I don't want to say tummy. I don't want to say
belly.
From the belly of the darkness, from the belly, the bellows, the belly of the darkness, a great light will arrive. Veshimshot ein cheker yigalu. And I'm told sunshines, lights will be revealed. ועל המוני עולמים תועפות נהורים יופיעו. ועל המוני עולמים, and upon multitude of worlds, תועפות נהורים יופיעו. תועפות, I looked up this word. So it's either from te'ufa, which means grow wings, like la'uf. But another, I don't know if that's what he means. על המוני עולמים תועפות נהורים יופיעו. It means like buchtot. You know what a buchta is in Hebrew? Like a buchta, like a big something. So upon all the world, a tremendous light will appear, tremendous lights, nehorim, which means like rivers of lights will appear. Ashrei kol choche. Happy is all those who will wait to see this, who will wait. כל מקשיב לקולות הדממה של המיית הנשמות. Fortunate is the person who will wait. And what's the waiting? He began this in the beginning of the paragraph. Waiting means you gave space for the awakening of the soul to take root and blossom and fruit. And even if you don't even know what's going on, just wait for it to reveal itself. Stay with it. Hold on to it. Ashrei kol choche. Fortunate is all those who wait. Kol makshiv lekolot hadmama. All those who are attentive and really listening to the sounds of silence, of the rustling sounds of the neshamas, hamayat ha-neshamot. Hamayat is like rachash. It's like the rustling sounds of the neshama that's always like percolating there, that wants to be heard. Gam b'terem yigalmu mehem milim v'otiot. Even before they will garb themselves, those feelings, they'll garb themselves with words or letters that you'll be able to actually speak about them. He's talking about what's he talking about here? A prophetic experience. Nothing short, to me, nothing short of coming in touch with the Shekhinah that resides within each one of us. Mamash, to me, this is what it is. It's Gului HaShekhinah to oneself. I bless you so much, Shavachaya, for putting me onto the Shmoneh Kvatzim because of what you quoted from Rav Kook to start us off on this creative project that we're on now. And oh my God, I'm like flying with this. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Can I say something too? I'm so happy to hear.
It's like I'm feeling I'm learning this, and I'm like I feel like it's a dunk in the mikveh every time. We tend to be crybabies of what hurts us. Like I'm a crybaby. I have to tell you, I'm a crybaby. I have things that bother me. And then I think I have to do tshuva on the things and it's like a sad process. But then I go to Rav Kook and he says, it doesn't have to be hard. It's like, you don't like, it's like, just be in the light and you'll be healed.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so much moving away from darkness as it is moving towards the light. That's what Rav Kook is doing for me. And this is the experience I'm getting from him.
So beautiful.
It really is so beautiful.
I think it also
kinks in my system. There's kinks in my system that I have to work out. I'm doing a lot of journaling these days, as you know. I've been sharing this a lot, and I'm doing a lot of inner child work because that's what's coming up in my journaling. Well, here I am, your exiled part, this part of your neshama that has been in gullus for so many years, and I'm not letting you not pay attention to me anymore, and I'm paying attention to her. But it's none other than what Rav Chaim HaKadosh says. It says Yortzeit today. We began with his tefillah, and it's what Rav Kook says, paragraph after paragraph, in all of his writings, that we are powerhouses of of godly energy, and we just have to give ourselves
Yeah.
the matana of hearing it, knowing it. We are not nobodies. We have a neshama that's full of creative energy, and all the healing power, all of the healing that we need for everything that's engulfed in this world is in the neshama. And all we have to do is when it shows itself up to us, not to reject it. Like he opens up this paragraph, not to reject it, to allow it to flow within us, to give it space, to take root, to blossom, to make fruit. And it doesn't matter that we don't even understand it and can't even explain it in words, that the formulaic intellectual mind can actually make sense of it and write an essay about it. Irrelevant. Just being in that experience is a dunk in the mikvah that has so much healing to it. And you walk away like the experience of the world is completely different. Okay, I spoke a lot. I'm like talking a lot because I'm inspired.
But that's our whole life. That is our whole life. It's just reminding us that this is what's happening, and we have to be aware of it more and more and more. And in the world that we're living in right now, it's difficult to be in that space because we have to go to the shop, we have to go pay bezek bill, whatever. Like we have to.
Yeah, that was last week's paragraph.
What's happening in Rafa? What's happening up north? But to keep going back, or not even going back, but being in that space to look at everything from that standpoint. That's what he's.
That's it. That's from that standpoint. Just keep doing it from that standpoint.
And that's what happens, Baruch Hashem, if we, we're choreographing a dance or we're painting or whatever. It's easier to do it at those times because we're concentrating on one thing. But in reality, we need to be living this way all the time. It's like he's just stating the fact that that's what it is. Yeah.
And this is what we try to do at Shevach Torah and Art. Just saying. Unbelievable. What a schut. What a schut. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. And B'ezrat Hashem, 7